Something is unfolding behind the guarded doors of Buckingham Palace, not loud, not scandalous in the way headlines usually scream, but quiet, calculated, and far more consequential. At the center of it stands Prince William, a man no longer waiting for the crown, but steadily shaping the ground beneath it. What he has begun to notice is not an external threat, not political pressure, but something far more delicate, an internal shift tied to a name few expected to matter this much: Lady Louise Windsor. Hovering in the background is Queen Camilla, a figure who has fought for acceptance, crafted her public image carefully, and now finds herself navigating something she cannot fully control. And threading through it all is the voice of Tom Bower, whose latest revelations don't shout, they linger, they suggest, they connect dots others prefer to leave scattered. Because this is not just about inheritance, it is about trust. And in a family where trust is currency, that changes everything. To understand the weight of what's being said, you have to understand the man saying it. Tom Bower is not a storyteller chasing attention. He is methodical, precise, and often uncomfortably accurate. With a background rooted in law and investigative journalism, his work doesn't rely on rumor, it builds cases. His latest book, released in March 2026, does more than revisit familiar tensions surrounding King Charles III or the ongoing distance of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Instead, it shifts the focus inward, towards something quieter but more unsettling. According to Bower, the real strain is not across the ocean, it's within the palace itself. He points to subtle fractures: a future king growing less tolerant of missteps, a queen consort whose private words have become public complications, and a younger generation whose influence doesn't rely on visibility. What emerges is not chaos, but pressure, controlled, restrained, and waiting for the moment it can no longer remain contained. In a family defined by hierarchy and visibility, Lady Louise Windsor exists in a space few truly notice, and that may be exactly why she matters. Born into the structure but untouched by its noise, she has built a life that feels almost deliberately removed from spectacle. Her studies at University of St. Andrews, her commitment to military training, and her quiet respect for tradition reflect something rarely seen in modern royal narratives: restraint. But her significance does not come from what she shows, it comes from what was given. Queen Elizabeth II was known for observing more than she spoke, for rewarding loyalty without announcement. And in that silent language of trust, Louise appears to have been seen, not elevated publicly, not positioned politically, but trusted. And in an institution where visibility often masks intention, that kind of trust carries weight far beyond titles or estates. It suggests continuity, not of power, but of values. And for someone like William, that distinction is everything. For Queen Camilla, the challenge is not simply public perception, it is permanence. Her role, carefully built over years, is tied closely to King Charles III. And as his health becomes a quieter but undeniable concern, the balance within the palace begins to shift. At the same time, Prince William is no longer operating as a distant heir. His actions, firm, sometimes uncompromising, reveal a man already shaping the institution he will inherit. He values discipline, discretion, and above all, stability. And when those standards are threatened, even unintentionally, he responds. Camilla's reported remarks, once private, have complicated that balance, not because of their content alone, but because they disrupt the image William is determined to protect. In contrast, Louise represents the opposite force: quiet, steady, and untouched by controversy. Not competing, not positioning, simply existing in alignment with the very principles the monarchy claims to uphold. And that contrast does not go unnoticed. Step back, and the picture becomes clearer. Not simpler, but sharper. The monarchy is no longer defined by a single narrative. It is a convergence of paths: a reigning king managing legacy, a queen consort holding her place, an heir already asserting control, and a young woman who has never asked for influence yet seems to carry it nonetheless. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle remain part of the story, their absence shaping as much as their presence once did. Their choices forced the institution to adapt, to redistribute roles, to reconsider its direction. And in that reshuffling, space was created. Into that space stepped Lady Louise Windsor, not with ambition, but with consistency, not loudly, but undeniably. And perhaps that is why her presence feels significant, because in a structure often driven by visibility, she represents something else entirely: quiet legitimacy. As Tom Bower suggests through implication rather than declaration, the future of the monarchy may not hinge on who fights hardest for relevance, but on who never needed to. And that is the detail that lingers, the one that keeps William watching, Camilla adjusting, and the public, whether they realize it or not, paying closer attention than ever before.